Okay, so I'm going to attempt to show you how to draw a 3D model of a classic Lego brick. And the dimensions I found, I went on Google and did a search for Lego dimensions. It was the first link under the images that popped up. And he's got a significant number of dimensions on here. So we're just going to use basically the ones here and here. So let me go ahead to Inventor. I already have it up on my computer. And I'm going to create a new metric standard millimeter Inventor part file. And on my screen, I automatically come up to drawing on the XY plane. If yours doesn't, you don't need to go into this, but I want to show you this for later reference. You can set it to do this under Tools, choose Application Options. Under the Part tab, you have Sketch on New Part Creation, Sketch on XY Plane. By default, it's set to No New Sketch. And in learning this software, I decided to set it to Sketch on XY Plane. I may change my mind, but that's what I'm using for now. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Sketch. If yours has that window that shows all three planes, just click on the XY plane. That's the vertical plane that's kind of leaning back to toward the right. I'm going to draw this shape right here. This rectangle, which is 31.8 millimeters wide and 9.6 millimeters tall. I'm going to draw it using the rectangle tool. If you sit on any of these tools long enough, it'll tell you a little bit about them. It'll even show you how to use them. Click on the drop down and it'll give you the other options, or just click on the tool itself and it will give you whatever you used last. And I'm going to choose the 2-point rectangle. I'm going to start in the middle of my screen at the intersection of the X and Y axis because I need to have my sketch anchored to 0, 0, this base sketch. I'm going to click and drag up and to the right, 31.8. I'm going to type that in, and then Tab will take me to the next box, and this one is 9.6. And drawing it that way, dimensioning it as you go, in some cases it's easier, some cases it's not. I'm going to right click and choose OK, so I'm done with that, and you'll see down here that I'm fully constrained. That means that AutoCAD knows exactly where all the parts of this geometry are in 3D space. Okay, now I need to finish the sketch. You can finish the sketch by clicking on the sketch, finish sketch option in the upper right hand corner, or right clicking on the screen and choosing finish sketch. This is the one I typically use. And now we're going to make an extrusion. To get to extrude, you can either right click on the screen and choose extrude, or choose it from the menu under create. You'll also notice if you leave the cursor on there long enough, it tells you that you can use E on the keyboard. Okay, so let's go back and see what our extrusion is going to be thickness-wise. Right here it tells us the distance from the front to the back of this is 15.8 millimeters. So in this particular case, it automatically chose my profile for me. It was the only thing that was drawn on the screen. And distance should be the default under extents. I want to extrude it back into the screen, and I'm going to change the text in there to 15.8. And then click on OK. If you don't see this window, it could be in the lab that it's closed, and this is the one you're working in. I just prefer this one. I haven't used this one that much, so I'm just really not used to it. So I'll be using this one. So if you can't see it, click on the little triangle. Click on OK. And if I move the cursor up here and grab a hold of this edge and hold it down and drag, you can see that I have that rectangular prism drawn. And the next thing I'm going to draw is one of those pins. I'm going to click on top to get my edges nice and straight. And we're going to go back to our drawing and see that pin is 4.8 millimeters in diameter, and it's centered in that 8x8 section of the block. So let me go back to here. going to create a new sketch, and again, so you can either click on the create new sketch and then select the plane. I prefer to right click right on the plane and choose new sketch. Sometimes you have to create a plane first, and we won't be doing that to create sketches in this video. We will be creating work planes for mirroring. Okay, I'm going to grab the circle tool and just click drag the circle, type in its dimension of 4.8, press the enter key, and then you can either right click and choose OK or press the escape key to get out of the last tool, and grab the center and drag it down roughly where it's going to go. You'll see it says we need 2 dimensions. It's a light blue, so that's one thing that tells us that it's not fully constrained. This is the other thing. We need the distance from this edge to the center and from this edge to the center. So we're going to grab the dimension tool and dimension the distance from this line to this center point. Make sure you click those points or those locations, and that distance is going to be 4. So I clicked those 2 points and then click to place a dimension. You need to click on it again to type in the new dimension. And then the distance from here to here is also 4. And you'll notice by putting those dimensions on, my sketch is now fully constrained. So I can finish my sketch. Again, I'm going to right click to do that and choose finish sketch. And now I'm ready to extrude. I want to extrude that shape. So I right click and choose extrude. And this time it didn't choose my profile automatically, so I have to choose the profile, and I want to choose the direction. I want to tell it to come up out of the screen if it's not already chosen. And extents, again, should be distance. Now let's go check the distance again. The height of those pins is 1.8 millimeters. So 1.8. And click on OK. And once again, if I grab this edge, click and drag, you'll see I have 1 pin done. So you might be wondering why I've only done 1 pin. Why didn't I draw all the pins? Well, because I'm going to use another tool called pattern. Let me get my sketch centered up again. The pattern tool, in fact, I'm going to rotate it just a little bit for this. The pattern tool allows you to keep your sketches very simple. There's no reason in this case to have a drawing of 8 circles on my sketch. I only need to draw 1, and then when I draw the rectangular pattern, I tell it how far apart to make each of those pins since they're all uniform. So I choose rectangular pattern, and you'll notice because I'm in the 3D model tab, it knows I'm going to make a pattern of features. So this is the feature. I want to make sure I choose that cylinder, and then choose the direction that I want the first part of the pattern to go. So I have to click on that arrow and choose this line. That tells that I want the pattern to go along that line. And we need 4 of them all together. You have to count the one that you've already drawn. So we need all 4 of those. And the distance between them is 8 millimeters. So type in 8. And now I'm going to do the bottom row. I'm going to choose the other direction. Click on this line, and I want 2. That's already in there. And again, I want them 8 millimeters apart. And you'll notice it wants to put them up the screen because of this is typically it goes positive. This is the one that I started with. Had I started down here, I wouldn't have to do this next step. But right in here, I want to click on this red and black arrow to flip those so it puts them down below where they need to be. And then click on OK. And there is the basic brick. Just need to do the inside of it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the bottom, and let's go back and look at the dimensions online. So right here it tells you that the sidewall thicknesses are 1.2 millimeters and that top wall thickness is only 1 millimeter. And we could do that by drawing another rectangle. We'd have to create another sketch plane here and then draw this rectangle, making sure the dimensions, and then when we extrude it, just extrude it back whatever this distance is. So, my Yeah, my machine is lagging because of the video I'm recording. But we're going to use a different feature. We're going to use something called Shell. And it's a 3D modeling tool. It will allow us to do this operation all at once. So I'm clicking on Shell. I want to select the surface where the shell is going to be. Just click once. And the only thing you need to change is the thickness of the shell. And the thickness is 1.2. And then click on OK. And you'll see it has created that shell for us. So now, again, go to the bottom. Let's go back and look at those little tabs. We need to draw these little tabs in here. This tells us the tabs are 0.6 wide by 0.3 tall. Incidentally, I realize I'm going pretty fast in this video, so if you're looking at this on your own individual computer, you can pause it at any point. Okay, we need to create a 2D sketch, and we need to create it on this plane, this outline. Not down inside here, although we could do this. I want to create it on this plane. I'm going to right-click and choose New Sketch so that my geometry lies on the same level as this plane. Once again, I'm going to use the rectangle tool and click drag a rectangle. Actually, let's do that again, and let's dimension it as we go. So the width is 0.6 tab, and the height is 0.3. So once again, the tab key gets you from one field to the next. And press the enter key, and there it is. I'm going to get out of the dimension tool. And to move this, if you just grab one of the lines, it will only allow you to change the direction along the X or Y axis, depending on which line you grab. If you grab the corner, you can grab it and drag it in any direction. So play with that for a second. Once again, grab the edge, and it only goes one direction. Grab the corner, and it'll go in any direction. Okay, it says I need 2 dimensions, and I'm going to set it so that I only need 1 because I want this line to lie right on this line. To do that, I need to add what's called a coincident constraint. That's this tool right here. This is going to make this point, I choose that tool, make this point lie on this line. So this point coincident to this line. And now you see I only need 1 dimension. And go back up and choose the dimension tool, and that dimension is going to be the distance from this point to the outside edge of the block, and again that is 4 millimeters. Something's not right there. Yeah, it's not 4 millimeters. 4 millimeters to the center of that shape. So right-click to get out of the dimension tool. Now I can go in and change this. Double-click it, and it's 4 minus half of that, which is 0.3. So it should be 3.7. There we go. And then now we're ready to finish this sketch. So right-click and choose Finish Sketch, and we want to extrude this. Now this extrusion is a little bit different. I'm going to rotate it back a little bit. This extrusion is going to go from here to this surface. So we have to choose some different things. I'm going to choose the Extrude tool, and it's chosen my geometry for me, but I want it to go back into the screen, and I want it to go to the next surface. Then it asks me to pick a terminator, so I'm going to choose this so that it knows I'm going to pick the terminator, and I want to pick this surface. And we got something really goofy going on here, do we? Oh no, it's just an optical illusion. So we're good. Click on OK, and there is our extrusion. We're now ready to draw the one on this side. Again, square this up a little bit. Zoom in. I'm going to go ahead and, again, on this surface, right-click, choose New Sketch, and draw another rectangle. I'm going to go ahead and dimension it as I go. Let me go back to the internet and show you. So this one is, again, 0.3 this way, 0.6 tall. So this one is 0.3. It asks for the horizontal distance first. Tab and 0.6. Then press the Enter key. And then get out of the rectangle tool. Drag this down onto the drawing. And we're going to make this point coincident to this line. So one of these points coincident to this line, and then dimension the distance from this point to this outside, and again this is also 4 minus 0.3, which would be 3.7. Okay, and finish 2D sketch. Now we're going to extrude that to this surface. So extrude, it has it chosen, back into the screen, to next, choose this surface, and click OK. So we have those chosen, or those drawn. Now we're going to go ahead and do a rectangular pattern of each one of those. And this is the first one. Direction 1, and we're only going to do one direction for each one of these. We could probably go ahead and draw those without putting in the mirror plane, but I'm going to use another feature on here. So we want 4 of these, 8 millimeters apart. And we probably could, if we had this distance across here, we probably could do this other set. But we need the planes on here for assembly anyway, I believe. So we're going to go ahead and mirror them the way I had originally planned. We'll go ahead and click on OK. And now we'll go ahead and do a pattern of this one. So another rectangular pattern of this one. Direction down the screen. 2 of them, 8 millimeters apart, and switch the direction, and click on OK. Okay, so we have half them done. And I'm pretty sure we could have done that rectangular pattern for both sides, but to put these together, I want to use a work plane. It makes assembly a little bit easier. That's the way I had planned. Thinking about it now, there's probably another way to do this. There's like all these drawings, there's so many ways to do them. You just find the way that works the fastest for you. Okay, so I need to create a work plane. I'm going to create a plane that goes right through the middle here and right through the middle here so that I can mirror these features. So under plane, I'm going to choose mid-plane between 2 parallel planes. Choose this plane and then rotate it a little bit. And this plane, and there's one work plane. Go up and choose that same tool again. Mid-plane between 2 parallel planes, and I want this plane and this plane. So now I'm ready to mirror these. And I want to be able to see the features because I don't think it will let me choose them if I can't see this edge down here. I'm going to choose mirror, and the features I want are this is kind of neat. I picked this one. When I picked this one, it picks all 3 of those because they were a pattern from this. And then I choose mirror plane, and I want to move clear outside my drawing so that it doesn't get confused with me wanting to pick the bottom. And I want to pick the edge of this plane. I'll pick that plane. And then when I click on OK, it gives me those on the other side. Do the same thing going right to left. Mirror. This feature and this feature. Mirror plane right here. Again, I'm outside my sketch so I don't accidentally click on something from inside the sketch. And click on OK. And there we have it. it's done. It's drawn. Now, if those planes are bothering you, let me zoom out a little bit. If those planes are bothering you, you can go over here in the model tree and right-click on each one of them and turn off visibility. So you can spin this around a little bit and look at it. This could be 3D printed. Okay, and we're ready to save. Now I'm going to save mine on my Google Drive. If you're not sure where to save this, just ask and I'll give you the location. So I'm going to save as. I want to put this on my Google Drive. I'm going to call this Lego. I've saved a few of them. We'll call this Lego 6. And save. And I know that's not part of the active project. Yes. I'm saving it there. Let me open the, I have an assembly here. There it is. Let me open the assembly so that you can see what the, so that you can assemble these. And I just threw a whole bunch in here. I just wanted to put a few together to see how they would look. There are the work planes. That's for another video to show you how to assemble those. Okay.